MySpace was once the king of social networking, with over 100 million users at its peak. However, it fell from grace as quickly as it rose, and today it is largely forgotten. In this video, we will explore the rise and fall of MySpace, looking at the factors that led to its success and ultimately its fall. Hello everyone, welcome to our channel. If you're new here, kindly hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell to get more videos like this. Let's get started without further ado. You are probably a user of one of all the social networks found on the web: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Telegram, and LinkedIn, which are some of the most used today and continue to add followers at all times. Additionally, various other social networks cater to specific audiences and interests, ensuring that consumers can find platforms that suit their preferences. Social networks date back to the early 2000s and are evolving more every day, adapting to the context, users, and their requirements. We have come to talk about one of the pioneering networks, MySpace, which had a brief period of great success but was unable to stay competitive to achieve the necessary positioning. 16 years of MySpace, the social network that had it all. The popularity of fashion social networks make them seem eternal. However, taller towers have fallen. What determines the success or failure of all of them? Will we see any disappear soon? Will the news about Twitter manage to maintain its leadership? Will ennui toward Facebook increase? Have we all forgotten what happened with 20? If these questions seem crazy to you, pay attention to this video and you will understand the unpredictable side of the incredible digital world. So pay attention as we show you the rise and fall of MySpace, a social network that will be missed by those music lovers who are now in their 30s and whose adolescence was spent attached to their space. What is MySpace, social network that was a leader in the United States? Before we wanted to capture every moment of our lives to broadcast it, before SMS and touches disappeared as a form of communication and social media agencies appeared to focus these platforms professionally, before all that, there was a network that marked the difference. What is MySpace, or rather, what was it? We're talking about one of the first social networks since, thanks to it, the concept and digital evolution that we know today in this field has been forged from MySpace as the first giant in the world of web technology. This social network, which to tell the truth has not had the success it had in its country of origin, the United States, was born in the year 2003, created by Tom Anderson and Krista Wolf to begin to form a community virtual that supplants the web pages. Founded a year before Facebook, this company is an example to keep in mind when we mention the importance of adaptability to stay competitive. Since its first journey back in 2003, this platform was born with a vocation towards the world of music. It can be easy to understand how social networks work and their goals in today's world, where we are fully immersed in the virtual realm. However, if we go back to the early days of social media, when the only things that existed were web pages and discussion forums, the introduction of social networks and their idea of creating communities for users was a major innovation. MySpace never started very aggressively. On the other hand, in the United States, it became the undisputed leader, so much so that the communication magnate Murdoch bought it in 2005 for $580 million. 6 years later, he would sell it for $35 million. A little about MySpace, history and purpose. The main objective of MySpace was to replace simple personal websites with an online community that brought together, through a profile, the information of each user. Also, where they could share their photos, favorite music, and comments. Those were the initial times in the history of social networks. The community platform began to be generated with MySpace aiming to establish and enrich an online social network where that spider web of social networking was woven based on, for example, being connected with friends of friends with interests and similar profiles. MySpace, the network that wrote the musical chapter in the history of social networks. The emphasis on the world of music led to MySpace, as it was also known, consolidating as a platform for emerging bands and groups who no longer needed the approval of a record company to be able to launch their music on the market and gain a foothold in the race for fame. One of the most successful cases was that of the Arctic Monkeys group. They went all over England, selling out concerts even before releasing their first album. In total, more than 600,000 groups uploaded their songs to this social network, positioning it in 2006 as the second most visited website worldwide. What until then meant going to the store and buying a record, with MySpace was within everyone's reach from home with a simple computer and an internet connection. Competitors and loss of leadership. You already know what MySpace is and what it meant at its peak. However, in mid-2007, the panorama began to change. Although MySpace was still at the forefront of virtual networks, Facebook began to break through, and its number of users was increasing 3 times faster. Web technology is constantly changing and evolving, and new social networks appear, such as Facebook. This application was a direct competitor to MySpace and gradually gained ground until it took the lead in just 2 years. Then, it was only a matter of time to give up the podium, considering that specialists already described Facebook as the internet phenomenon in 2007. Not even its expansion to markets like China, the launch of a version for the Latino community in the US, or the alliance with Google to attract more users could prevent the fall. Even more so when the competition was declared between both networks. Thus came February 2009, the month in which Facebook became the social network with the most visits on the internet, according to figures provided by the measurement company Compete.com. Perhaps that is why Chris DeWolf now focused his speech on the business model, pointing out that MySpace was a profitable company as opposed to the rest of the social networks. Such reasoning could be true, but what was relevant was that his status as absolute leader was already part of the past. In June of the same year, Facebook took the lead from MySpace in the United States, surpassing it in the number of users in the entire North American nation, according to consulting firm Comscore. Undoubtedly, MySpace's efforts to achieve alliances with Google, for example, and segment markets such as the Latin American market in the United States or the Chinese market in Asia were in vain to maintain the podium of the big companies in social networks. Whoever was a fan on Facebook forgot about the other social network, no matter how good times they had spent on it. After all, being aware of how social networks are currently orchestrated, it seems objective to think that the evolution has been marked by segmentation and specialization in digital content. In other words, the MySpace social network from its inception combined the music platform and social interaction, a mix of digital content and online social relationships. Today, the monopoly of digital communication is held by Facebook, just as YouTube maintains an indisputable leadership as a video platform and music player. The latest story is that MySpace has been forced to jumpstart projects to regain popularity after losing users, redefine its own space as an entertainment site, and even consider rethinking itself as a gaming venue. Reinvent yourself or die seems to be the watchword of this site that, hand in hand with music, does not want to play the last chords for a long time. Decline and loss of image. What is MySpace today? Surely, like most people, you have believed that MySpace no longer existed. And it is that its presence on the internet is so low that it is hardly registered by users. The reality is that this network continues to exist, and it has implemented several changes today. It aims to be a social network dedicated to music, where users can access content related to it, from songs to notes from their favorite bands. When MySpace returned to its position in 2013, but this time from the music industry side, it worked and was an important innovation in the new way of consuming music until Spotify arrived. Again, we see that it is not up to the context and its demands. This company invested in better user experiences and completely pushed it out of the picture. Once again, MySpace is diminished for not adapting to what the context and users require. In addition to being ousted by the massive abandonment of users in favor of other websites, Recently, during the current year 2019, we have seen how MySpace has lost more than 50 million songs in a practically irreversible way. In other words, the entire repository of music content from 2003 to 2015. The company claims a human error during a server migration process, assuming that a large part of all those files had been lost forever. Despite the efforts to remain operational, problems of this type have directly affected the trust of users who have preferred to upload their content on social networks where these problems do not present a risk to the maintenance and privacy of their content. This is how MySpace languishes, a story with a bittersweet ending for a network that dazzled half the planet. Although we cannot affirm that it is due to a lack of adaptability to the virtual context in which we are immersed today, we can say, for example, that creating a profile on this network is not easy. And surely this is another of the reasons why it continues to be unable to reach the massiveness that social networks seek. Taking into account that any company that generates experience for users or provides services rather than products needs to be optimized to provide good quality of use to consumers is a key point. As mentioned earlier, users are the ones who determine where they will share their data and which platforms they will use. If a website fails to provide a trustworthy or user-friendly experience, users are likely to migrate to a different platform. Even digital or technological companies must adapt to users' needs and preferences to attract and retain customers. These companies are often at the forefront of new technologies to gain a competitive edge and attract users. That's all for today, folks. Thank you for spending some time with us. If you found this video interesting, let us know what you think in the comment box. Make sure to hit the like button and notification bell, and subscribe to our channel to get access to more interesting videos from us. While you are here, kindly click on one of the other 2 videos you see on your screen. See you there!